あえもいや Bless the maker and his water. Welcome back, friends and foes, to another movie review. This week we are tackling Dune, one of my favorite movies of this year, of the last 5 years, of my lifetime. I don't know. I just really enjoyed this movie. I thought it was really well crafted. Denis Villeneuve really hit it out of the park. I've seen it in standard, IMAX, and the small screen, so I've seen it every way possible, and I just really enjoyed it a lot. So I'm really excited to talk to you about this movie. As most of you know, Frank Herbert wrote this book back in the 60s, and it's been adapted a couple times since then, but I think this time they really hit their mark. Denis Villeneuve, excellent job, and who wouldn't expect it after he did Blade Runner and Arrival? Some great science fiction there, but yeah, so let's jump into it. As you know, I do 5 pillars. I focus on the plot, characters, score, special effects, and cinematography. Average that score and give you the most objective score possible. So to jump right into it, I thought the plot was really well paced for it being just the first part of this book. It basically sets everything up. It introduces you to the world and all the different characters and the family feud that's going on between the Harkonnens and their Atreides, and how the Emperor is at play in it. And I thought they did that very well. They covered a lot, like ecology, religion, the political upheaval, sociology, all of it. And I think it was a nice introduction to the world. I think that with other adaptations like David Lynch's Dune, they crammed way too much in because it did the entire book and it was just too rushed, and I felt like that's where that movie failed, where in this version it's taking its time, it's easing you into it, and I think that's going to really pay off. It's a nice slow burn, and once we get to the climax of the story, everyone's going to be hyped about it. So I think Denis Villeneuve did a really good job on establishing the world and everything that goes on. I think one of the best things that he handled was the voice. Introducing that during that breakfast scene was just the best way to do it, to establish it instead of just being like, oh, these witches have some magical power over people, but this one kind of introduces you to it a little bit easier visually. One of my favorite scenes in the movie was the Gom Jabbar scene where Paul puts his hand inside that box. I thought that was really well adapted. I thought all the imagery was there from the book. I just really enjoyed watching it. Denis Villeneuve does a really good job explaining how he crafted the scene in a video that I'll link in the comments below. And the whole book was well adapted, but some of my other favorite scenes that I enjoyed was the spice harvester scene where Shai Hulud takes down that spice harvester. Then you got the ecological lab that Liet Kynes takes them to. And then the Thopter when Jessica and Paul have to use their voice against their captors. I thought all of those were well adapted. I really enjoyed the worm dance. I'm glad that they attempted to do it. I don't think there would have been a way to make that look less goofy, so I appreciate them trying to do that. And the more I think about it, the less goofy it is, but at first glance, it was definitely a little bit goofy, but I still enjoyed it. The handling of the hand signals was really well done. It came off as more like a sign language, which I really appreciate because I've took some sign language classes in the past. The only real criticisms I have of this film is that they kind of just abandoned the whole traitor plot inside the book, about that there's a traitor inside of House Atreides, and they're trying to figure out who it is. Some people are thinking that it's Jessica, and that's why I think in the film that Duke Leto asks Jessica if she will protect her son, and that's why that scene comes up. But I think they could have explored it more, where there is a traitor and they don't know who it is. And when it's revealed that it's Dr. Yue, it would have just been so much more impactful that way. But I think how it's done is just fine. And the only other thing other than that is I don't think that they set up the jihad or the holy war too well. I think it'll come up more in the next few parts, but I feel like for people that haven't read the book, it's kind of more like, what is he talking about? I don't really understand. There was that vision that he had that he saw like some fighting and a couple burned bodies, but it didn't seem that bad as to what the book portrays it as it being some massive like genocide. And I just think that they could have done that just a little bit better. But overall, I really enjoyed the plot. I think it was well paced for just being part one. I was entertained the whole time. I gotta say, I give it a 9.5 out of 10 for the plot. Now, moving on to characters. We have some well-casted characters and some alright casted characters, but I'll get into that. So for Paul Atreides, we have Timothée Chalamet. I thought he really looked the part of an Atreides, and I think that in the book he was a little bit more capable than he was in the film, because in the film they kind of gave him this arc of growth, but overall he did a good job. Then we got Lady Jessica, played by Rebecca Ferguson. Her portrayal was really well done. In the book, she's more of a master of emotions because she's Bene Gesserit, but I think that in order to show that she's a caring mother, she needed to show those emotions visually to us on the screen. Just when Paul goes in for the Gom Jabbar and she's kind of freaking out because she knows her son might die. But if we saw her as a stone cold face, I think that we would have just thought that she has no heart to her, but she does have a heart. She just hides it really well in the book, and that's hard to come across visually. So that's why I think that it was a wise decision to portray her with her emotions more on the surface than she does in the book, if that makes sense. But so I thought she was really well done. Oscar Isaac as Leto Atreides, I thought did an excellent portrayal. He really knew his assignment. He really exuded nobility, loyalty, bravery, charm, all those things. I think he did a really good job. You got Duncan Idaho, played by Jason Momoa, which I think he did a really good job. I just think that knowing his past characters that he's played, I think that I can't really get past that he's just Jason Momoa playing Jason Momoa in my mind. But overall, I think he did a really good job. I think if they casted a unknown actor, it might have been a little bit better, but that's all right. Then you got Vladimir Harkonnen, played by Stellan Skarsgård, and he did a really good job creating that threatening presence. I think they could have done a little bit better job showing how smart he is. I think he just comes off as more menacing, which is great, but that he has some type of strategy and he plays the game very well. And I think that they could have shown that a little bit better, but that's just me. Then you have Javier Bardem playing Stilgar. I thought this was one of my standout characters. I thought he did a really excellent job just being that person from a foreign culture that has different customs than we do, and there's kind of a gray line there that we don't really understand, and I thought he did that really well. And then you got Rabin, played by Dave Bautista. I thought his portrayal was all right. I didn't really see much going, we didn't really see much of him, so it was kind of hard to catch a gauge, and the character himself in the book wasn't really well explored, so yeah, it was Dave Bautista. I think that was just another person that's hard to get my mind out of their past roles as like Drax the Destroyer. Like, I think that he kind of just sticks there in my mind, but that's just me. Another character, we got Gurney Halleck, played by Josh Brolin. I think he did a really good job. The only thing that I would complain about is that Gurney is more like of a troubadour. And I feel like he's a little bit more warm than Josh Brolin portrayed him as. I feel like Josh just played him as like a hard individual, and I think that maybe we'll see more of his soft side. So I'm excited to see more about it, but that's just my opinion. That's just my opinion. Then you got Thufir Hawat, played by Stephen McKinley, and I think he did a really good job. I wish I could have seen more of him, but I really enjoyed his eye calculation thing, which I don't think most people that didn't read the book caught it when he like flicks his eyes into his head. That he is doing a calculation because he is a human computer. But they could have. I feel like explaining more about that would have just overwhelmed the audience. So I'm glad they kind of kept that to your interpretation. They kind of explained it visually by asking him a mathematical question, and then he spits it out almost instantly. So I think his portrayal was really well done. Then you got Leah Kynes, played by Sharon Duncan Brewster. She's the planet ecologist, and I really just saw the passion and the mystery in her character. And she's another standout character for me that I really enjoyed watching on screen, and really enjoyed her portrayal of the character. They gender swapped the character also, and I thought that was a really wise decision. Then you got Dr. Yue, played by Chang Chen, and I think that he needed a little bit more development, so when his betrayal was revealed, it would have hit that much more, and I just think that that could have been done just a little bit tiny better, but still good. Then you got Cheney as Zendaya. I think she did a really good job. She really portrayed her strong presence, and we didn't really get to see much of her, but I enjoyed her performance. Then we got my last standout character, which was Gallus Helen Mohim, played by Charlotte Rampling. I thought that she did a really good job. Very foreboding, mysterious, knowledgeable, smart, just as a Bene Gesserit would be. Very stone-faced, and I just really, really enjoyed her portrayal. Overall, I'd give the characters a 9 out of 10. So yeah. So moving on to score, Hans Zimmer created this amazing score that really pulled us into this world and showed us how strange and just mysterious it is and beautiful. I thought like all his sounds when they showed the desert landscape made like a nice wind flowing tune to it, which he kind of portrayed with the Fremen as well, because that's just how the desert is. And then with the Atreides, it's more like classic and warm. Then when they go over to the Harkonnens, it's more like a metal sound, and I just think he did a really good job. The Bene Gesserit are like women whispering, and that's kind of just what the Bene Gesserit are like people that are ruling the empire on the side, and it's making the emperor more of a puppet so they could get what they want. So yeah, Hans Zimmer is a super big fan of the book, and it really shows that he knew his material. He was such a big fan that he turned down working on Christopher Nolan's Tenet just to work on this film. I really enjoyed all the soundtracks, as you could see with the intro of this video. It's very unique, and I would give the score a 10 out of 10 for sure. Moving on to special effects, I think they really hit it out of the park. They had practical sets, which I always enjoyed practical over green screen or blue screen. And their ship designs, crazy. I really enjoyed seeing my AirPods case making an appearance. No, I think that the Thopters were really well created. They were so dragonfly-like, and in the books they're described as bug-like, and I just feel like it really like captured the imagination of what people imagine when reading the book, and they translated that well on the screen. So props for them. And then the shields, I think they did a really good job on the shields, how they're kind of just like blue, and you don't really see them until you hit them. And then if you're able to penetrate the shield, it turns red. And that really visually shows what's going on. I thought that was really well done. Costumes and makeup were just crazy good. The Bene Gesserit veil hoods were just super cool looking, especially when they're walking through the rain. And the still suits, they look great. They're just a black suit, and they just look really cool. Who wouldn't want one? The Harkonnens all kind of look bug-like their suits, and I think that's really a cool design. The Baron, how they made Stellan Skarsgård just this huge man. If you know what Stellan Skarsgård looks like, it's just crazy, his transformation. Then the blue on blue eyes, I thought they did that really well. How it was really dark blue where the pupil is, and then around it was a lighter blue. I thought that was really well done. The props are really, really cool. You got the thumpers. I thought that was just like a really cool design. The sand tent, with the sweat in the tears like flowing through the little veins of the tent. That was super cool. And then the unique looking swords. All of it was super well done, super well made. And I really enjoyed looking at it. It's just great. Then you got Shai-Hulud, the sandworm. Bless the Maker in his water. His unique look was just massive and just foreboding. It looked great. The mouth of teeth just looked really cool, and how you could just take one of those little one of those teeth and make a crisp knife out of it. That's super cool. Only mark off I would do with Shai-Hulud is that they have internal fires always burning inside of them. So when it was looking down at Paul, I think they could have had like a fire inside. That would have been really cool, as described in the books. But overall, I'd give special effects a 9.5 out of 10. Really, really solid. Finally, moving on to cinematography. I think there were so many shots that I really loved just to watch visually. That's too much to name, but I'll hit on a couple. One was when the Harkonnens left Dune, and their ship was just floating up, and they had that choir singing behind. I think it really portrayed a nice classic, like 50s alien UFO vibe. I just thought that it made it just it made it very ominous, and I thought that was really cool to see. Another scene was when the Bene Gesserit came to Caladan, and when they were leaving, and they took off, and Jessica's just standing there, and I guess it's not lightning, but like a flash from when they take off. It just flashes, and I thought that was just a really cool shot. Another one was when they were walking, Jessica and Paul walking into the desert, about to make the big crossing. I thought that was a really classic shot of people walking into the desert. I just really enjoyed that. So yeah, I could go on and on about the different shots that I really enjoyed, but cinematography, definitely 10 out of 10 for me. Really enjoyed it. So averaging all those totals out, Mentat style, I'd say that the movie gets a 9.6 out of 10. It's such a good movie. I really enjoyed it. I could watch it over and over again, and maybe I'm just biased because I read the books, but I can't get enough of it. Really enjoyed it. Bless the Maker in his water, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.
I must not fear. Fear is the mind killer. Fear is the little death that brings total obliteration. I must face my fear. I must allow it to pass over me and